Let's do that as well. So, let's see. People of the Fog, Decisive Strike. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. Decisive Strike is one of Laurie Strode's unique perks which was released in Chapter 2, Halloween, into October 2016. 2016. What? 2016, guys. Can't see the left corner, or where I am. Hey, guys, hey, you're so bloody picky. Aren't you? You're so bloody picky. It's all Augur, my face. Thank you for the prime. You get the comments. And the cage, welcome to the stream today. Thank you, man. October 2016. That's insane. We introduced Decisive Strike as a perk option to help give survivors a second wind and an opportunity to escape their inevitable demise. Right. Over the course of the last few years, Decisive Strike has been a point of contention amongst our community, and as a result, the perk has been an interesting journey since its inception. It's had an interesting journey. Decisive Strike has gone through some minor changes to arrive at the current state. Additionally, we've also prototyped entire reworks of the perk, some that we previously spoke of with the community. Ultimately, most of these ideas were shelved, as we felt they did not retain the essence of the perk. The essence of the turn of the perk is kind of, well, we'll see. Nor did they provide an overall improvement to the current version. Identifying community's frustration. To find a solution through which Decisive Strike would be valuable to our gameplay, we had to better understand our players' irritations towards the perk. Here's a summary of our findings. Up to 4 Decisive Strikes in a match, this perk can take a lot of killers' time and completely break their momentum. In combination with the frustrations, this often comes back as a point of resentment. Yes. For most killers who face a survivor team with Decisive Strike, yes. You straight away dislike that person instantly. You just don't like him. Risk reward, not much of a downside. Using the perk, there literally isn't. Except missing it, but that's on you. A huge advantage when used successfully. Dribbling, this is when the killer intermittently drops a survivor to avoid the Decisive Strike trigger. Obsessions, with only a handful of survivor obsession perks available, it was often clear when at least one survivor was running Decisive Strike, killers would tend to actively avoid the obsession or alternately tunnel the obsession, forcing them to burn the perk early in the match. Yeah, pretty much. But if you do burn the perk early in the match, it's because they're a bad survivor with DS. And if you do just tunnel the DS at the very start and they're a good survivor, you've lost the game. So, good luck on that. So, the new and improved Decisive Strike. Using whatever is at hand, you stab at your aggressor in an ultimate attempt to escape, blah, blah, blah. After being unhooked or unhooking yourself, Decisive Strike will become active and usable for 60 seconds. While Decisive Strike is active when grabbed by the killer... this is actually good, guys. This seems actually quite good. This is sounding really good. After being unhooked or unhooking yourself, so you already need to be hooked. Oh man, that's awesome. So already... the killer's getting momentum because he's got that hook at the start. It'll be usable for 60 seconds after you've been hooked. So basically, if you go against a killer who is always coming back to the hook and he's tunneling the people on purpose over and over again, it's going to make killers kind of scared to go after the injured people as well after 60 seconds after the unhook, because the Decisive could potentially be there. So in essence, it's basically just a buff to... well, not really a buff. It's a quality of life change for survivors, so they don't get tunneled. Anti-tunnel perk, yeah, that's actually a decent idea. I didn't think about that, but that's actually a decent idea. While Decisive Strike is active when grabbed by the killer, succeed a skill check to automatically escape the killer's grasp and stun the killer for 3 seconds. What were the other one, guys? What were the other one? Actually, we can do this. There it is. 4 seconds. So it's been nerfed by a second as well. It was 4 seconds. Now it's 3 seconds. So it's been nerfed by a second. That's good. So Enduring will still be good versus it if you do use Enduring. Enduring's now count. I still don't think Enduring's going to count. I don't think Enduring will count even if it's 2 seconds, man. It depends where a pallet is. It depends where a window is, etc. Succeeding or failing decisive strike skill check will disable the perk. Successfully stunning the killer will result you in becoming the obsession. Only 1 obsession per match. So, if you stun the killer with it, you'll become the obsession. But so minimum, if it were a whole 4-man decisive squad, you'd get 4 hooks minimum before you start getting hit with the decisives. You can also leave them on the floor to counter it. There's counters to it now. Slugging can kind of counter it, right? Yeah. Well, people slug anyway. It's not really back, is it? There's counters to it now. There's genuine counters to it now. See more Unbreakable. Yeah. Unbreakable's a counter to slugging. There's counters upon counters upon counters, and that's what you want. You want counters. Highly doubt good survivors will use it now. Oh, we're going to see a lot less boosted survivors, I think, which will be nice. There's going to still be fuckloads of boosted survivors because the scoring system's piss easy for survivor right now. It just is. It is. Like, you don't really need to do anything and you rank up. But it's kind of a good thing because, as I said, if you do go against really good survivors, decisive or not, it's going to be very, very hard to beat them when they're really, really good, just because of the gens. But this is good. This is a good start. When's it implemented? Well, actually, let's see. So for the new iteration of Decisive Strike, we have introduced certain conditions and outcomes for using the perk, while retaining the core concept of providing a second chance at survival for those who successfully use it. The trade-off for using Decisive Strike comes at the risk of suddenly becoming the killer's latest obsession. The concept of changing the obsession while in a match is in progress is something completely new to Dead by Daylight, and is sure to create some interesting situations when combined with other obsession perks. Perk stats inactive, no longer usable from the start. Okay, so these are... Okay. No longer usable from the start of the match on first down. New condition in a trial. Any survivor that has the perk equipped can equip to use Decisive Strike if they meet the condition. Being saved from the hook or unhooking themselves. Decisive Strike will only stay active for 40, 50, 60 seconds after being unhooked. Window opportunity gag. Gives the survivor only limited time frame in which to trigger the perk after escaping the hook. Decisive Strike skill checks will trigger during the pickup. This decision was made to help avoiding dribbling and reduce the amount of time wasted for the killer. So the thing is, this is still going to be strong for endgame. It still will be really strong for endgame. Because they can just grab him, be near an exit. They need to do something with the exits for endgame. And hear me out. When the exits open, it's essentially a free escape. Like, the killer can't do anything about it, right? Just like borrowed time, in essence. It's a free escape. There's no counter to it. Like, the exit gate is open. The hook's there. You lose. You might as well just walk away. But you could just get people grabbing them, couldn't you? I don't like how when it's end game and there's a guy on the hook and the exit gates are open, that the killer loses points for staying near the hook, but he can't go anywhere else. I just like that. But this is yeah, that's a different thing anyway. Stunning the killer with Decisive Strike will result in the killers dropping the survivor. After successfully using Decisive Strike, it will immediately become the obsession. This will remove the obsession from any other player, and any perks that refer to the obsession will now refer to you. So you could just become Rancor instantly, couldn't you? That's kind of weird. It's interesting though. We believe these changes should help enrich the player's experience for those killing survivor. We're excited to get the feedback regarding a new and improved decisive strike. See you in the fog. I'd say like positive, to be honest. I still think it's going to be a solid perk, but I might not even feel bad using it now. Maybe. I guess I'll have to see, you know. It still is godlike because it essentially makes you immune from being targeted again. And 60 seconds is quite a while. When's it implemented? I'm not sure. It definitely seems... You wouldn't say it's godlike. I mean, end game it is. End game is pretty much a guaranteed escape. But yeah, I guess if you're comparing it to what it was, then no, it's not godlike, because before it was broken. Enduring makes it useless like DS Tier 1. I don't think so. What was DS Tier 1? Does anyone know? Was that 3 seconds? Was it 3 seconds? It was never useless with Enduring, but Enduring did count... Well, it didn't really counter it, because it never really countered it, because it were all dependent on the position of the survivor, if they were a pallet close or whatever. But it definitely gave you more opportunity to get closer to them. But Enduring should, because the killer's using a perk to beat a perk. Why should one perk win, like all of it? And Enduring doesn't beat it, by the way. Enduring just allows you to recover quicker. You don't beat it, it does hit you still. I think it's good. I think it's good. I think we're still going to see boosted survivors because the devs need to look at the scoring system on the survivor side. I think the killer side's fine. I think if anything, the killer side's quite difficult with scoring. Personally, that's what I feel. I feel like if you don't get if you don't have a match which is so strong that you got a 4-man, that you might even black pip when you're in that kind of situation. I've black pipped many times with 2 kills. But that's a whole different thing. So we will still see boosted survivors. It isn't just DS what's doing it, but it's going to help so much versus the non-boosted survivors who are using DS, because them games are so horrific. So this is good. What do you guys think anyway? You've heard my thoughts on it. I think it's a good change. I think they've actually designed a smart change there. I know a lot of Survivor biased mains will say that it's terrible and shit, but they'll be comparing it to how broken Decisive was, so there's no point in listening to that. I want to hear people who play both sides. You've experienced Decisive's fucking over your whole game, and maybe even if you've used Decisive, but you do play both sides, so you understand. It just makes it so you don't get tunneled, which is fantastic. People hate that, right? Survivors hate being tunneled. You like the change? A lot of people seem to be saying that you like the change. Anti-tunneling's good. I know loads of Survivor mains who like base the whole game on Decisive will absolutely hate it because Decisive was broken as fuck and they just didn't accept it. But I think this is definitely if not just fixed, a massive step in the right direction. I need to obviously see what it's like in game, but it's looking good. It's looking very good. Awesome. Good to see.